Hello, I'm Bernard Hickey from Eurostoxx and welcome to 90 at 9. This is your morning briefing where you get everything you need to know in 90 seconds at 9 o'clock, starting now with news that US stocks and European stocks and Asian stocks all fell overnight. There is concerns of a synchronized slowdown in global economic growth. US stocks fell 0.3%, European stocks down 1%. Now, the concern here is that both central banks and governments have either reached the end of their ability to actually improve the economy, or they're choosing not to. Central bank inaction is the theme when you look at the US Federal Reserve, which seems to be divided about whether to go ahead with a third round of quantitative easing. The European Central Bank, which is mired in various attempts to try and save the Eurozone and isn't printing money to buy bonds. And the Bank of Japan, which yesterday appeared to do something, but when you look closely, they're not printing more money. This means the pressure goes on to governments to try and force growth into the economy. And at the moment, on both sides of the Atlantic, governments are focusing on fiscal austerity. The so-called fiscal cliff is approaching in the United States, and it's clear from what's happening in Spain and Italy that the governments there are heeding the demands of Germans to focus on austerity. All this means we're looking at further deleveraging by private sectors, lower interest rates, lower growth for much longer. People are now saying 15 to 20 years of deleveraging and slow growth. Meanwhile, all this risk off the table saw the New Zealand dollar down to 79.1 US cents. Also keep an eye on what's happening in the Middle East. The US has announced new sanctions on Iran and a buildup of its navy in the Persian Gulf. This is all causing people to hoard their cash in safe havens like US Treasuries and Japanese bonds. We saw record low yields last night in a US 30-year bond auction down to 2.58%, and the 10-year yield, a record low 1.46%. The US dollar is strengthening, so is the yen against both the pound and the euro and the New Zealand dollar. Finally, closer to home, Australian jobs out yesterday, weaker than expected, down 27,000. I'm Bernard Hickey. That was 90 at 9 from Interest.co.nz.